Labour Party is having a mare. It started in January with then PM Ardern stepping down.
I know what this job takes, and I know that I no longer have enough in the tank to do it justice. It's that simple.
And since then, things have started to unravel.
Stuart Nash has reflected on his actions and has tendered his resignation in the police portfolio.
Prime Minister Chris Hipkins made the decision on confirmation of Meka Whaitari's resignation from the Labour Party this morning.
This morning I have advised the Governor-General to accept Michael Wood's resignation as a minister. I advised her that I did not believe that she was in a fit state to hold a ministerial warrant.
This morning's news clearly hit the Prime Minister hard, and not just because he's lost a political force.
Obviously, I'm very sad for Kiri. Kiri is an incredibly talented person who clearly has been battling some demons and has not won that battle.
It's obviously a hard time for Kiri, and it's also a huge headache for Labour, especially when the polls have them neck and neck with National.
I know that the last few months have been a bit messy for the government.
So, with just over 2 months until the election, could this scandal be the straw that breaks the camel's back?
Well, joining us now is political scientist Lara Greaves from Victoria University. Lara, what does this mean for Labour? How big of a deal is it?
Well, one of the key questions that voters seek to answer in elections is who's going to provide government going forward, right? So the Prime Minister is literally the Prime Minister, the person in charge of cabinet and in charge of government. So one of the questions, other than talking about the nitty-gritty of policy, one of the questions voters have is whether someone can provide a stable government and a stable cabinet. And I think that the various resignations from Labour and from the cabinet might undermine that stability and the perceptions of some New Zealanders.
If you're Chris Hipkins, what do you do now? Obviously, Stern talking to your people, to the team, but then what?
I think you really need to make sure no one else has skeletons in their closet and that there won't be any more kind of issues with your cabinet, with your key team, because you really need to be able to stand on that debate stage against Chris Luxon and be able to say that, you have the best team for the job and that you will be able to provide a really stable government and stable cabinet.
Lara, I just wonder, is it too late to check there aren't more skeletons? Haven't there been enough? I mean, it feels to me like this is a turning point in the election. Will it cost Labour the election, do you think?
Well, I think fundamentally at this point, we've still got about, 3 months to go. And at about this point in the campaign, we know from election studies, 50 to 60% of people have made their mind up. So that's still a lot of voters that still quite haven't figured out who they'll go with.
But it comes down to the vibe, doesn't it? And the vibe for Labour right now is pretty shocking.
Yeah, so there's this classic poll asking people, do you think New Zealand's on the right track or the wrong track? And I think it's about 1 in 5 New Zealanders think we're on the right track. So it is the vibe at the moment is quite negative. But I think potentially there's been enough renewal within Labour that people might not blame Hipkins for the vibe. It's really, it's a bit tough to tell 12 weeks out.
What does this leave left-leaning voters with? What do? Do they jump off Labour and go and vote Green?
Well, I think fundamentally MMP, we've got so many options. You do have all of those left options, Te Pāti Māori, the Greens. You've got those parties that you might think might not hit that 5%. People have a lot of options. I think that, there's still quite a while to go, and it's not clear whether this will undermine too much trust in Hipkins at this point. We've seen Luxon struggle a little bit more in those trust and the trust question that Newshub has actually asked in the poll. So there's still a little bit of time for, I guess, Hipkins to kind of try to seem trustworthy and that he's got that cabinet under control.
Lara, thanks so much for your analysis tonight. Really appreciate it. Well, kia ora, everyone. Welcome along to the project. Look, Paul Henry's here tonight. Labour not having a great election year so far. Paul, is this a big deal?
I think it's a big deal. I'm much harder on it than Lara was. I think it's a huge deal because what we know is that Labour had a lot of support last time round from very soft national supporters. This today has given them a clear licence to abandon Labour. So if National handle this well, I think this is definitive. I think this is a turning point.
The big question is, how many jobs can Kieran McAnulty do?
Well, no, but even although you say that in a funny way, who have they got? I mean, actually, who have they got? Do you trust them to run the country? No.
You've got to feel sorry for Chris Hipkins, eh? Sitting down after Jacinda goes, right, us 20, we can take this election because the 19 of us are going to make it happen. 18's enough to make me and you 16 will get this done.
It's not even funny. It's the way the country's run.